Mm-hmm.
Dr. Pepper Zero is my personal favorite Zero at the moment.
Okay, all right.
Uh,
A&W is pretty awesome too.
I do like, and I don't even like when I was a big soda fan. A&W wasn't high on my root beer list, but as zeros go, that's probably the highest one for me.
I think it's the better one.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
probably
the
the
better
best
one.
one when it comes to that no calorie thing.
The
Uh,
Virgil suck.
yeah,
They're
you know what sucks?
terrible.
And this may be just a Texas thing.
This is a
Big
Virgil.
Red Zero sucks. Big Red's one of my favorite sodas of all time, and their zero
Yeah.
shit, dude.
I mean, Big Red is perfect the way it is.
I guess that's it. I guess because when you drink it, that's not Big Red, and you just kind of like,
Yeah. It's like a cream soda. Diet cream sodas are like, what are you doing? What's the
yeah, what
point?
are you doing?
This is fair. This is fair.
Anyway, so I've been wanting to have you on for a while, JJ, because like me, you've been a Star Trek fan for a very long time. Unlike Justin, who just started.
I was a Star Wars fan since a child, and I actively avoided Star Trek. My mom was a Trekkie, and she would try to get me to. I'd watch episodes with her, but I was just like, nah, man, Star Wars all the way. And yeah,
See, I think the issue with that is in between the Star Wars movies, you're like, what else is there? Right? So
there
what else is
was
there? There
comics,
is
comics.
somebody exploring the galaxies,
Yeah, it's true.
Someone's got
Mr. Jean-Luc Picard.
out. Someone's got to learn.
No, I will say, and because he started me on my journey, and so I became completely hooked during the pandemic.
Okay.
I went back and watched I was like texting him probably almost every other day where I was like, oh, this episode is badass. Oh shit, that was so deep. And like, cause I went, what did I started with Next Generation,
Okay.
Yeah.
then watched that all the way through because clearly during the pandemic we had a lot of time. And so I was trying to stretch it out, and I would do like two a day, one or two episodes a day.
Yeah, we didn't know if we had 15 years locked up. I don't know.
You know, but with that one or two a day, I got all the way through Generation.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And I texted him. I said, man, season one kind of sucked. He was like, just get through it. It gets better. And I was like, all right, which has been the formula for pretty much all of Star Wars. Star Trek, where it's like season
Sacrilege.
one, but then it just like explodes. The one that really got me was Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
I was like, oh man, these are getting so deep. Like
You almost quit on that one.
I almost quit. Yeah,
I can't do this. And I said, I know what it's like.
I fucking hate for
I don't understand how
It's also tricky because there's no exploring, right? Because he's
well, that was it. I was like, what is this? Like Friends on a space station? Like I was like, why is everybody so goddamn cheery? But then the characters molded after a while. But at first it was just like this face value of like, oh, that's just Quark. Like, I don't know. I was like I was like, what the fuck is this?
That's what made freaking DS9 better, I think, is because every decision they made came back around on them. Like it wasn't like in Star Trek, like, okay, we solved the problem and left. And I'm like, and when you think about it, you're like, well, you kind of just told people what you thought and left. I don't know if the problems were actually solved. There's probably shit you still have to work out. And that's what DS9 did. They were working shit out because they couldn't just like leave. So
right.
They had to keep working it out. Whatever went on with the Maquis, they had to keep working it out. They couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that they had to be in that space station, which was a setup under the galactic, right? So it had its own hierarchy, even where the captain station is. It's all different, and I like how they made a clear difference of like, hey, this is how these motherfuckers roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a lot of cool stuff like that. Like, yeah, when they were going through the hallways, you have to step over this little thing, which no human would actually design.
Yeah.
The display screen doesn't actually have a screen. I don't know how that even works, but that was really cool.
Yeah. It was completely different, and that's like, yeah, they might be like humanoid, but even though they're humanoid, they ain't human.
Yeah. The character that had the most dynamic and like just the best arc for me was oh my god, Odo.
Oh, by far.
Odo was just had his like I don't just thinking of himself as for the longest the only changeling, and then fighting changeling and finding out they were actually some of them were kind of assholes, and his what do you call it, his battle between like duty and his people, and I don't know, it was very good, and I kind of wanted to watch that.
Yeah, it was cool how they developed that character, because on the first I'm like, he's just a beat cop with an extra superpower. Like this kind of sucks.
Old man.
Yeah. And then they like, once he had to deal with like that duality, right? Which I'm a huge fan of people having to do duality, right? Mm-hmm. That's why I like Worf back in the day, right? He had to deal with that duality of being a Klingon, but also having to be
a Starfleet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because humans, the reason why is because humans, we are all walking contradictions all the time. We just that's who we are as people. And I think that's why we like it so much in our stories, is people dealing with that stuff. Because even if it's an alien, we relate to people having to deal with duality, as you said, like it just who we are as people. And that's why the show is so deep and awesome. And I really like it. I don't like always when people compare it to Star Wars, because I think it's two different things.
No, one's a hero story, and then the other one is an exploration of humanity. They're on two different levels.
Because Star Wars is more fantasy style based. Like you said, the hero's journey is in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the original A New Hope is pretty much based off of King Arthur. You know, weird things are happening. Let me go meet this wizard that people talk about. Oh, the wizard knows that I'm a special person. Here's your father's magical sword. Okay, now I have to go save the world from these assholes. That's King Arthur. The entire story is King Arthur. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
The wizard is Yoda. Thank you very much. His name is Yoda.
Was Obi-Wan in The New Hope. So
This is true. This is true.
Okay. This is the point, is like that's a fantasy story. They just put it in space. While Star Trek's your basic sci-fi, where like, hey,
Star Wars has to do with like almost like there is a good and evil, right? Yeah. There is a light and dark. It's very black and white, and then it goes to like, even though you did some dark shit, you can come back, right? That's it. But Star Trek stays in that gray.
Yeah, it stays there, very much so, especially in DS9, which is probably why a lot of people like are huge fans of it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think most people still like Next Generation more than anything, but a lot of Star Trek fans like.
What was that guy's name? Gul Dukat. Yeah,
Gul Dukat.
He was probably my second or third favorite arc, because I mean, they're pretty much like Nazis, and just their idea of even all the terrible shit that they were doing, even when he's like does something halfway good for for someone, he's just like, but I clothed you, I gave you a home, and this and that, and this is how you treat me, and like that was kind of trippy, because it was pretty much like after World War II, like if like a Nazi still had, they had to be, I don't know, integrated into society kind of thing. And then you got, what's her name?
Help me.
Fuck. Short hair with the earring.
First officer, Kira Nerys.
There we go. Yes, and you've got Kira.
Caleb, you're good. You're good.
Who was like the face of the oppressed, and it was just this. Like it was I don't know, it was just so good. It was so good. I'm now it almost makes me want to rewatch Deep Space Nine again.
Yeah, I'm with you at this point.
I do too. I do too.
So let's travel on from Deep Space Nine. Voyager. Did any of y'all watch Voyager and give me your thoughts on that?
So I went back and I was watching like this is during COVID, mind you. I was rewatching a little bit of Voyager, and Captain Janeway is awesome, right? She is an amazing captain, probably better than Jean-Luc Picard.
She grew on me by it took 3 seasons.
Hold on, I want to say the reason why she's better, in my opinion, is because they were afraid to give her weaknesses. And what I mean by that is,
yes.
Let me put it this way: if something was wrong with engineering, she already knew everything about it. If something was wrong about in some sort of other thing, did diplomacy, she was the best in the ship. If this was happening over here, she was the best at that. She already had all the knowledge. And I always went, man, I feel like you just don't. You're so afraid to make her weak at something.
Well,
but then I mean,
if you think about the internet now, if she had any bit of weakness, they would have fucking crucified her.
Maybe.
No, but maybe. They gave her kryptonite was sometimes her vulnerability with like her ex-husband and like it was her relationships.
Yeah, the personal life thing. Yeah, I agree.
That was a one time that she, but then she always snapped back and was like, no, my fucking my number one priority is my duty to the ship. But she did have these soft moments of just like,
she was soft with basically everyone in her crew though.
Yeah.
Like even with like 7 of 9. Like
I was gonna say she wasn't that soft with well
it's just like that for that whole situation to happen.
Quarters. She'd be soft with her inner quarters and just be like, listen, usually I'd throw you in the brig, but I feel like you've learned your lesson or something like that. But in front of everyone, when 7 of 9 would combat with her, she'd hold her on and be like, I'm the fucking captain. Like
that was actually, I found this out later, not just a few years ago. That was actually more what you're reading into that was the fact that they didn't like they brought her in real life.
I know. I heard about that.
They didn't like they brought her. They felt like they were trying to sex up the show. And
which they did.
They did. They really did. I was
2 thumbs up.
Hey, fireworks.
That happened.
I don't know how your computer does that. When you make symbols, it does things for you. I don't know how. Yeah, you can't do it twice for some reason. I don't know. You can do it again later. Make a symbol.
Yeah, my computer knew exactly what I wanted. I was like 7 of 9.
But later on, she said this too. Later on, she realized that no, that character was pretty strong and pretty impressive and actually interesting. She was just pissed off. Like she wasn't supposed to be the original captain. There was another actress who was supposed to be the captain, and that actress thought that the character lead wasn't strong enough for a female, so she left.
Wow.
I don't remember the actress's name right now, but she was like, no. Y'all told me she was gonna be a strong female. She wasn't.
Well, shit. Janeway made
her so strong after that. They're like, shit, we're not doing good enough.
Well, on my rewatch, I kind of fell into like a little bit of an issue with the guest stars. Like, oh, it's The Rock. Oh, it's Andy Dick. Oh, it's Sarah Silverman.
The Rock. That Rock.
It's like every other couple episodes, you're like, here's somebody that's topical for the 90s.
True, but they were the same reason they put in 7-9 that season was because they were dropping on ratings hard and they were trying to get back into it.
Well, they were smart because she was great.
I hate that people get mad about the Rock episode because he was barely in the episode. He was there for a fight, and that was it. Like
it pulled me out.
Really good.
It was a weird episode. That whole Gladiator / Tron ish. I don't know.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
It was a weird ass episode. I was just like, well, okay, cool. They're taking some leave time. Went to go see like equivalent of Bloodsport, and then it was a side quest for sure.
But I honestly love that episode. I get The Rock wasn't. I mean, he hadn't like learned anything about acting yet, so he pretty much just
has he learned it yet?
No, I think he's a great actor actually.
I love Black Adam. That's my guilty pleasure. I'll go back and I'll watch that movie. I've seen it like 7 times. There's something about a motherfucker just walking, like hovering through a building. It reminds me of Cell from Dragon Ball Z when he's like, let me just go and show up and fucking tell reporter shit. I don't know. I just find it fascinating.
Cool. I love the fact that they put in a lot of side characters that the DC hasn't used much in the movies anyway.
Yeah.
The guy who played Hawkman was my second favorite Hawkman I've ever seen anyone portray.
That was good. Also, they had
good.
Pierce Brosnan as fucking Dr. Fate.
And he was great, dude.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And it looked cool. That movie looked fucking cool.
Yeah.
It was freaking. I was really upset. And then they pulled out Superman at the end of that movie, and I was all excited because I honestly think he's a great Superman. He just hasn't had any good Superman movies. I think if we can get one good Superman movie with him, I know we're not to now.
Yeah. You're talking about the latest Superman?
Yeah, Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill.
It was. Yeah. I like him as Superman.
I think people want that like bright, bubbly American way Superman, but then
I like the dark shit. Give me dark.
It's hard to see Superman snap somebody's neck at the end of a movie. I'm just,
I wasn't thrilled about that. And there's other times that he did shit that I wasn't thrilled about, and I thought it was too dark overall for Superman. But I didn't blame him.
No, it wasn't him. It's Zack Snyder.
He wanted Superman to be pretty much Batman, and I was like,
yeah. And side note, Zack Snyder. I don't know if y'all watched his latest. What was that called? The
Rebel Moon.
Garbage.
Oh, it was. I was about to watch it.
It's so bad, dog. Like
it looked good.
You want to love it. Like you want. Trust me, I wanted to love it. Me and my brother, like we just like we watch it. Like my brother who's in Los Angeles. He's also a fan of a lot of Zack Snyder movies. And we were both going into it. We're like, "Ooh, shit! All right, we can't wait." Like, we didn't even go out that night because we wanted to just watch it when it released.
Okay,
we watched it on Friday, and we were trying to watch it Thursday, but we were also very drunk, so we watched it Friday. And we both had this kind of feeling like halfway through, I was just like, "Yo, this is." I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. But like the build up in the beginning, yeah, but the I don't know, the plot, the middle, the ending, I was just like, what the fuck is going on right now? And I have no motivation to watch the second part.
About Zack Snyder, I haven't seen this one, but I have always had issue with his movie making. He loves the moments,
and
big
visually,
but
yes.
he does not set those moments upright with the scenes. The scenes, your regular scenes, set up the big moments. And he just wants to get to those big moments and be like, ooh, let me put it another way. The Superman versus Batman.
It was just eye candy.
No, but
a lot of stuff like that.
Caleb's 100% right. You're 100% right. You haven't even seen the movie, which I like the movie. And the reason I like it is because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of like this and that and bop, 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 but it wasn't a good movie. It should have been like a mini series or something like that.
Sure. Yes.
You can stretch it out.
Because like there's this robot thing and I think he had a full arc without the movie. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Thank you.
I saw him and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then the end of the movie, I'm like, why the fuck does he look completely different?
He's all fucking around. He's all fucking around in a field for the entire movie.
He has horns.
I got horns.
It looked like he fucking took Helen's horns. Like, like what the fuck are we doing?
I was like, where was that story? I don't give dude. I swear to God, it was just so many.
The director. If you think about for a second, just cast your mind back to Superman and Batman. And actually all the Superman movies, like there were these things like you would see people like worship Superman and shit. And I was like, why? In his first Superman movie, he just destroyed shit. I don't understand why people like him. And then like later on he dies and people are like, oh, we're so sad that he's got, and I'm like, why? You haven't shown us anything of why. I get that he's Superman and we should know that. But you as a storyteller needs to show that the world loves him for being Superman. You can't just go like, well, people know him. He's Superman. You can't do that.
That Superman was super absent from the world. He just like showed up one time and started fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Huh. And now you've made that movie worse. Thanks.
Now you see why Rebel Moon just didn't. You wanted to be invested in certain characters and it just didn't hit. Like there were too many possible stories.
Yes.
That you could have dissected the movie pick a handful and go on their journey. It was like, ooh, and this guy does this over here. Oh wait, no, and now she is over here, and then boom, boom, and then oh wait, no, but this person, and then we'll forget about him until the end of the movie. Oh, and then
so I think that's why I like that movie. I'm in the middle of writing some stuff, and it just seemed like a thought experiment because I'm like writing. I'm like formalizing a documentary and a couple other things. So I'm writing a screenplay for something else. So my brain's all over the place. Just like that.
When you're writing stories, especially screenplays. It's a little hard because you have to write action a lot in screenplays. Yeah, so it's a little difficult. Let's go somewhere that should lead us into why we're here today. But we'll try to make a cool transition here. We should talk for a couple minutes about the TV show Sanctuary. And that should lead us into the sumo stuff we were actually here to talk about. So I just want to say real quick, I freaking love Sanctuary. I've seen it like 10 times. I know that sounds like a lot, but I can't help but watch it.
Actually, that's pretty excessive. Because it's pretty long too.
Well, if I'm doing stuff around the house, I like to put on a TV show that I've seen, so that like when I'm walking past, I just like, oh yeah, that's freaking awesome, and then when I can hear what's going on, I don't know. That's just who I am. However, with Sanctuary, I wanted to address some complaints that people had. Complaint.
Like well, other than the over the topness of
they're a little over top, but it's a drama.
Yeah.
One of the complaints like, oh, if he acted like that, he would be kicked out. And I was like, yeah, you can't be that much of a dick. But at the same time, you needed to show him growing into a sumo character.
Yeah.
Like you had to show that. And the writers were smart enough to give a reason why they were putting up with this shit. From the first episode, and the first, I think, 3 or 4 episodes, they kept talking about how that Baya was almost in bankruptcy, and they're afraid they were gonna have to close the doors and everything. And here's a guy who can literally make it into the top division, and so they didn't really want to get rid of him, even though he was a dick. Like it was obvious that that's what they were doing. So even though he was acting like someone who would have gotten kicked out in real life, they tried to write a reason to keep him in, and I thought that was brilliant. There's a thing in screenwriting that's called hanging a lantern, which is when something is crazy and not believable, you kind of put something in there and says, yeah, we know. Here's the reason why we're going to go with this. And then most people just accept it. Okay, we accept it. That's cool. That makes sense. Okay. It's like when people say 1,000,001 shot and it happens, that's hanging a lantern. And that's kind of what they did. Like, we're about to break. Or like, we're about to go bankrupt. That's fucking great writing, in my opinion.
That is. That is.
I also want to say, people complained about them throwing the bottles at the TV and the TV not breaking being the most unrealistic thing in the entire.
Huh?
Okay, a lot of people. So the bad guy, the guy who kept fucking with the Baya because he didn't like the guy who ran it.
Scarface.
He was the little guy with the glasses and the.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like Scarface. The
Scarface. Scarface wasn't the bad guy. In fact, more like he was the friend.
He's an anti-hero.
Sort of. But he's actually a good guy. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just people think he's a monster. Yeah. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
He beat the brakes off of Homeboy.
I love that. But so there's 2 scenes where that little guy with the glasses who kept giving the Baya shit got mad at the screen and would throw his bottle and the bottle would hit the screen and like the TV was fine and people would complain about that. That's nothing in my opinion. The scene, episode 2, the main guy, Inyo, was singing a karaoke song, and the entire time he was singing the song, he was back there dancing and moving like this, and the mic was just standing there. And I'm like, no, that's not how mics work. They don't pick up your voice perfectly when you're going like this.
Hey, when I'm drunk, I think it does.
Okay, you've done that. You know.
Yes. I think we just saw that in September.
I was like, wait, what? I feel like I could like freaking what's his name? Jacob from Houston dancing on tables and fucking like he was still holding a tune and he was get it. I was like, damn.
Ain't no party like a fucking a consulates cup party. It's the best. Oh man, that's back-to-back years for me losing my shit. I had so much fun.
And we got fucking what's his name? Former my gosh, or what's his name?
Kokai?
Yeah.
Kokai. Oh my god, I'm going blank. Sorry. We got him all excited. He was like, what? He was like, I really love the community of, of American sumo. He's like, this is another level. He's like, you guys really seem like everybody is friends and stuff. Like, yeah,
I saw them in Japan. I saw Kokai and Zora in Japan, and literally they were like, Jake, come here.
Yeah.
Pick me up. I was like, hey man, I'm a middleweight now. Put me down. I'm grown.
Hell yeah.
Yagamaru at the Rotown told me the same thing. He was so impressed with the community of the American Sumos and how amazing it was. So yeah. But
they were also shocked by the fact that we don't get no federation money to do the events that we do.
Nope.
He's like, Justin, son, you do this yourself? I said, yeah, me and my credit card. And I was like, yeah, but like we all do it, like do for each other. I was like, we like, I said, him over here, was talking about the Grand Sumo guys. I was like, he helps with this, and so he got to, because he came so early that one day he got to see everybody helping to set up, putting the mats down, and he was like just so like baffled that the federation just doesn't take care of everything. He said in Georgia, he goes, I say we have event, the federation says, okay, how much? And that is that. Lord Jesus, I wish.
That brings us to